Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Ojo. I am a SAM licensing consultant with version 1, and I wanted to spend some time with you today to look at how using non-production licensing models can go a long way to reducing your Azure spend. With Azure leading the pack as the global cloud market leader and the continuous and upward trajectory of public cloud spending among organizations, there's an increased focus on Azure-based spending. According to Gartner, public cloud spending accounted for about 41% of all IT spend in 2022, and this is expected to reach about 51% by 2025. This growth in itself represents a significant investment in public cloud expenditure for small, medium, and large companies. We at version 1 have spent some time looking at how you can reduce your Azure spend using non-production licenses. As organizations embrace Azure, it is important that they develop a licensing strategy for development and test purposes. So for your test and dev environment, with various development and test licensing pathways for Azure, it is essential that organizations understand available licensing options and the terms associated with them. So let's talk about what you can get for free. Number 1, you can get your Azure free account. Microsoft makes available a limited set of free services for individuals or organizations who need to carry out one of the following. 1, to evaluate or demo Azure. 2, to implement Azure at a reduced scale on a short-term basis. Microsoft limits the majority of these free services to about 12 months, with some services offered on a pre-continual basis. You can look for more information on that on the Azure website. Included within this Azure free account is a $200 credit that can be applied to any Azure service that must be used within 30 days of signing. The second thing you can get is the Visual Studio or MSD and Azure credits. So these credits are split based on the level of Visual Studio and MSDN subscriptions you have. So for Visual Studio Enterprise, 150 USD per month. MSDN Platforms, it's 100 USD, and Visual Studio Professional and Visual Studio Test Professional is 50 USD per month. These credits are best fit for individual use scenarios like self-paced learning and exploring Azure features in a non-production setting. You can create your own Azure tenancy. However, you may face challenges when collaborating with colleagues within the non-production setting. These monthly Azure credits for Visual Studio subscribers will breach Microsoft licensing terms if they are used for production purposes. So it is important to understand that this is for non-production environments. The third thing you can get is your Azure Test Dev subscriptions. These Test Dev licensing modules enable a high degree of flexibility where staff need access to the same set of non-production Azure services. Azure Dev Test subscriptions are available where organizations license Azure using a pay-as-you-go model, or what Microsoft terms as their enterprise motion. When using Test Dev subscriptions, an administrator can create unique Azure subscriptions that incorporates default discount levels on a variety of Azure services. Some of these services are listed below. So you have your Windows VMs, BizTalk Enterprise VMs, and BizTalk Standard VMs, SQL Database, SQL Server VMs, Logic Apps Enterprise Connector, App Service, Cloud Service instances, HD Insight instances. Now, it is also important that license compliance consideration must be considered at each individual level. So you have to make sure you keep an eye on what the licensing terms are for every single one of these options. Using Azure Dev Test subscriptions provides an excellent pathway from non-production as well to production when compared to using Visual Studio Azure credits. So there are additional benefits to using the Azure Dev Test model. In conclusion, it is important for each organization to understand the scale of your non-production requirement in Azure and to develop a licensing strategy that meets your demand. Don't be afraid to use non-production licensing models. They can be used to effectively license and manage costs. They are on a use or lose basis, so use them or you don't gain the benefits. And like always, if you need any help, we at Version 1 are always there to help. There are a few videos on YouTube that you can access for more information on Microsoft licensing. Thank you so much for listening to this. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.